Mr. Brown, do you have any questions for for Corporal?
Yes. He said the person, I am not a person, so I'm trying to figure out.
Do you have a question for for Corporal Spidell? Corporal Spidell, I'm sorry, Corporal.
That's for the officer now.
Do you have a question for the Corporal?
No, I don't have a question.
Do you have any questions for Corporal?
Not for court. I have a question for
You have a question for whom?
the court.
Okay, you don't actually get to ask the court anything unless you have a motion that you'd like to file. The court doesn't really take up any questions at this point. We're in trial. So at this point, if you would like to cross-examine the witness, you may do so now.
No, I don't have any questions for the officer.
Okay, so the witness is free to step down. Will the defendant like to call any witnesses?
Speak for myself.
You would like to take the stand as a witness?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you give will be the truth and the entire truth?
Yes.
Please state and spell your name for the record.
For the record, my name is Roman Brown. Living man. You said spell it.
Please spell it. Yes.
Capital R, lowercase O M, lowercase m, lowercase n, lowercase n, capital B, lowercase R, lowercase O, lowercase W, lowercase.
All right, folks, buckle up, because what you're about to witness is courtroom chaos at its finest. On one side, we've got the judge, armed with actual laws, patience, and a whole courtroom behind her. And on the other side, a self-proclaimed sovereign citizen who insists he's not a person, not a driver, and somehow not subject to basic traffic laws. Sounds absurd already, right? Well, it only gets worse. Today's defendant, Mr. Roman Brown, is about to put on one of the most bizarre legal performances you'll ever see. From claiming secret loopholes in spelling his name to shouting about non-existent contracts, he throws every page of the sovereign citizen playbook at the court. Spoiler alert, none of it works.
Mr. Brown, I'm going to have you give your testimony from the podium as you are representing yourself, and you are now the witness as well as the acting on your own behalf as your own attorney. So you may proceed.
Yes. So I was traveling, like, I'm a non-citizen national, for the record. I am not a United States citizen. I am not a resident in the state. I live in the United States of America. But I was traveling. I didn't commit any crimes. The officer asked me for documentation. I gave him the documentations that were valid. The driver's license, he unlawfully detained me. I did not consent to any searches or seizures. He unlawfully violated my rights by going through my private property. He in the documents that he's brought up were like you just stated, they were not valid and they were canceled. So like I stated before, I was traveling. I'm not a driver. I reserve all of my rights.
This right here is Sovereign Citizen 101. Play games with your name. Notice how instead of just spelling Roman Brown, he tries to twist it into some bizarre version with random capitalizations and nonsense. This comes from something called quantum grammar, a completely fake legal theory where they believe changing spelling magically erases jurisdiction. Of course, that's not how law works. Judges don't care if you capitalize your middle name or draw it in bubble letters. You're still the same person facing charges. So let me ask you viewers, if you were in his shoes, would you really gamble your freedom on a spelling bee?
Mr. Garinger, do you have any questions for this witness?
No questions, Your Honor.
I reserve all of my rights under UCC 1-308. I do not consent
I'm sorry,
to
UCC,
offers.
I need to be able to hear you clearly. You reserve all of your rights under,
UCC 1-308.
okay?
I do not accept this offer. I do not consent to any proceedings. I'm not a United States citizen.
Mr. Brown, I'm gonna stop you right now. You can have a seat.
By the defendant's own admission, he canceled his own license. He did not have a valid license on May 12, 2023. He was not able to produce one, nor did he have a valid title, nor was he able to produce one. Your Honor, I believe you have a copy of the MCL code, so I won't go through reciting them all. But it is required in the state of Michigan that if you are on the roadways, that you must have a valid driver's license. It's also required that you're in your motor vehicle. You must have a valid title to that vehicle and registration. Finally, if you're given a lawful order from a police officer, you must obey those commands if they're a lawful order. The fact of the matter is that the defendant, Mr. Roman Brown, did not produce those things when he was stopped on May 12th, and he refused to comply with the lawful orders given by Corporal Spidell. Therefore, the people would ask that this honorable court find the defendant guilty on all three counts. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Closing arguments from Mr. Brown.
Here it is, the classic I was traveling, not driving argument. Sovereign citizens love this one. They claim driving only applies to commercial activity, like truckers or Uber drivers, and that traveling is a constitutional right. But courts have rejected this nonsense for decades. Why? Because operating a motor vehicle on public roads has always required a license, regardless of whether you're hauling cargo or just going for groceries. Yet, people like Mr. Brown cling to this myth as if saying the word travel will magically erase their traffic violations. Viewers, what do you think? Is this just willful ignorance? Or are these folks truly convinced they've cracked some hidden legal code?
Gave me a ticket for speeding. Clearly, on video, it just showed that he said that he put me up for.
We don't have a speeding ticket on the record for today.
For a lawful order to be submitted, it has to be a crime being committed. There was no crime being committed. Like I stated before, I was traveling in my automobile, my private conveyance. I was not driving. I am not a driver or an employee like Uber or someone that's transporting goods or property. I'm not a driver. I was traveling from point A to point B. My automobile I don't have an issue with my automobile. It was stored. I was taking it to get it serviced. I was traveling there. I didn't commit any crime now. Well, like I stated, a lawful order for it to be a lawful order, it has to be a crime present. And I haven't committed any crimes. I did everything that he requested. I gave him all of the documents that were legit on my behalf. He went in my and unlawfully violated my rights by going into my private my private property and getting any information and documents that he did get. And I didn't present those because they weren't valid. It wasn't they were canceled. So I don't want a contract. I do not consent to any contract. I don't want a contract. I have the right to travel free. I'm a non-citizen national. I am not a United States citizen. I am not a resident. I do not reside in any fictitious address in the United States. I'm a national for the United States of America Republic. I have the right.
Listen carefully here. This is supposed to be Mr. Brown's big chance to convince the judge he's innocent. Instead, it's a word salad of contradictions. He admits handing over canceled documents, denies wanting contracts, and insists he's exempt from laws because he's a non-citizen national. The irony? None of this addresses the actual charges. It's like being caught on camera stealing cookies and arguing that you're a free human traveler with no snack contract. Entertaining? Sure. Effective? Not at all. So let me throw this to you. If you were the judge sitting through this, would you be able to keep a straight face?
I need you to recite your oath of office to uphold the Constitution. I haven't done anything wrong. I'm getting pulled over and took out of my car. That's like kidnapping. I wasn't. Like, this is crazy. This is.
Are you done?
This is Lisa Precinct. Purposely.
I'm sorry, can you speak that?
Lisa Precinct.
I don't know that I understood that.
This court is operating as a Nisi Precinct.
What is that?
Nisi Precinct.
Don't repeat the words. Tell me what that means.
Okay. This is a notice of Nisi Precinct. A demand for judicial notice of Rule Lacey. Again, a Rule Lacey's court. Notice is hereby given on August 6th of 2024 at 8:30 a.m. or soon thereafter. The matters can be held in the courtroom of the above entitled court. Move the court to take judicial notice of the following. This is a demand for judicial notice of Rule Nisi within a Nisi. This court, by being part of the Nisi Precinct court system, must follow Rule Nisi, which is a quote, a Rule Nisi which all becomes operated in final unless caused by shown against it. Since the court can require compel performance which is only allowed in the court, which is enforced some type of contract, it is Hornwood law that all contracts are either equitable or admissible for enforcement purposes. Based upon the foregoing, this court must take judicial notice that this court is merely enforcing some type of contract that will allow Rule Nisi to apply. Therefore, the court should dismiss this matter and the prosecutor does not produce, if the prosecutor does not produce content on proof with omission, evidence that the accused was involved in an actual being regulated with admissible evidence that invoked the authority of the court. Hearsay or presumption will not be permitted since this is a criminal trial which the accused justly demands due process secure to him by the state constitution.
Now this part is peak sovereign citizen theater. Mr. Brown starts reading from a judicial notice document full of pseudo-legal gibberish about contracts, rules, and imaginary laws. This is another common tactic. They flood the record with paperwork that sounds official but means absolutely nothing. Judges have seen this trick hundreds of times, and trust me, it never works. The real issue here is wasted time. Instead of addressing the facts, expired registration, no license, ignoring police commands, he's trying to stall with word games. The question is, do you think defendants like this truly believe in these fake laws, or are they just desperate to avoid responsibility?
Court has heard testimony from both the corporal officer, Corporal Spadell, who made the stop on May 11th, 2023. The court has also heard testimony from the defendant, Mr. Roman Brown. As it relates, I guess I will start with, one moment. It's Roman Levon Brown. I wanted to make sure I have his full name for the record. Roman Levon Brown. The court has heard testimony that Corporal made the stop on 5/11 or May 11, 2023 in the city of Detroit in the county of Wayne. Corporal Spadell identified Mr. Roman Levon Brown as the defendant sitting in the courtroom in the blue blazer. Corporal, as well as the evidence provided by the people, showed in the video cam that the corporal made the stop based on a expiration of a plate. The color initially caught his attention, indicating that the plate had been expired, giving him probable cause to pull over the black Chevy. He later verified in the lien system that the vehicle had not been registered since 2022. Again, the stop was made 5/11 or May 11th, 2023. The corporal then gave testimony that, as well as seen in the dash cam video, that the defendant was given several instructions to turn off the ignition or to take the key out of the ignition on numerous occasions. The defendant did not comply with the request from the officer to take the key out of the ignition. At one point in the video, the corporal asked that the defendant place the key on the roof of the vehicle. The defendant did not comply with the request of the corporal. Corporal gave instructions for the defendant to step out of his vehicle. The defendant did not comply initially, did not comply with the instructions of the corporal. Corporal also has testified that the defendant, as well as seen in the video, that the defendant did not provide a valid driver's license when asked to do so. The defendant did, in fact, give some form of paper that the court does not have in evidence today. The defendant has not submitted that in evidence today as to what that paper or what those documents were. However, it was not a Michigan driver's license. Corporal then ran, or at some point in the video, was able to obtain the actual driver's license card off of the defendant's person, and later was later learned.
And there it is, the hammer drops. Guilty on all 3 counts. No registration, invalid license, and ignoring lawful commands. The judge carefully walks through the evidence, showing exactly why every one of his excuses falls flat. Notice how calm and methodical she is, despite all the theatrics from Mr. Brown. That's professionalism in action. And here's something important. This isn't about picking on one guy. It's about reminding everyone that traffic laws exist for safety. If we all decided licenses and registrations were optional, the roads would be chaos. So I'll ask, do you think the judge was too lenient or just right in handling him this way?
That the defendant did not have a valid driver's license in the state of Michigan because the defendant canceled his driver's license defendant's own admission, stated that he canceled his driver's license due to not wanting to have a contract with the state of Michigan. Therefore, the court is going to find the defendant guilty on all three charges, guilty of unregistered, untitled vehicle, which the defendant did not provide a registration at the time of the stop. Lien system verified by Corporal Spadell that the vehicle had not been registered since 2022. Guilty on the count of driving while licensed improper, since the Corporal Spadell confirmed and the court has confirmed that the driver's license of the defendant is still canceled as of today, and guilty on disregarding the officer's signal or lawful commands of an officer. The officer made lawful commands, although it was not as a result of an arrest at that point in time. The defendant had not been placed under arrest at that time. However, it was a lawful command. The defendant has argued that the commands of the officer were not lawful because he had not violated any of the laws and that he had not done anything wrong. Simply to state that you have not done anything wrong does not mean that you have not done anything wrong. Simply to state that you have not violated a law does not mean that your actions or through your actions that you have not violated the laws. In this state, you are required, although you use the word travel, you can use whatever word you'd like to use in this situation. If you are operating a motor vehicle in the state of Michigan, you must have the vehicle registered every year. You must have a valid driver's license as well as insurance in order to operate a motor vehicle in the state of Michigan. I believe that the defendant did provide valid car insurance through Cure, and I don't know that that was brought up on the record, but I did see in the video that there was a Cure insurance certificate provided at the time of the stop. However, there was no indication or no evidence provided that there was a registration or a valid driver's license provided.